Good evening and welcome to our Facebook Live this evening. My name's Jenny McCormack and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator, and I'm based in the market town of Brackley, which is in Northamptonshire in the centre of the UK. Welcome to this Facebook Live this evening. It is the 28th of September and it's a miserable, dark and dull day. It's been pouring with rain, so I've got wet twice already today. Hopefully that will be the last time. Fingers crossed. But we shall see. So I had a great session this afternoon, which was one of our in-person card classes. So that was really good fun, crafting along with 8 ladies who came to Evenly, which is where I hold my local events. And we had a really fun afternoon. It was nice to catch up with each other. We were laughing together. We were drinking tea. Carol brought some homemade cake. That always goes down particularly well, shall we say. So yeah, it was a good afternoon. However, when I was packing the car away, I got absolutely soaked. And then just before the live, about 10 minutes ago, I nipped out to the car to get the last of the bags in, and it was absolutely pouring down. And then Cassie, my dog, decided she wanted to go off for a walk on her own, so she disappeared off, as she does, only just round the corner, but of course in the pouring rain, so I had to go back in, throw on a coat and go and retrieve her, which indeed I did. So welcome to our session this evening. I am carrying on with this Birds and Branches stamp set, and I'm going to be introducing the dies to you this time that cut out some of the elements from the stamp set, but also some additional dies which you'll find useful in lots of different ways for card making, and not necessarily with the Birds and Branches stamp set. I've just thrown a cold drink over my phone. Let me just mop that. Okay. Oh, hi Jeanette. Thank you, my darling. It was a great afternoon, wasn't it? I really enjoyed it, so I'm glad you did too. Okay, let's find my way back. Here we are. Okay. So I hope you obviously got back safe and sound, Jeanette, through that horrible rain and everything. Really not very nice, was it? So continuing on with Birds and Branches, just want to introduce you to some of the dies. So this is the stamp set that we looked at yesterday. So it has these 2 birds with an infill and some extra wings, so you can build up the design. You have different sets of feet, some eggs, some flowers, and a nest, and some branches with the leaves that fit. And these 2 are both the same at the end, so the same set of leaves fit in for both of those. And then in the set of dies, we have this one which cuts out the nest here, like so. And then we have one which cuts out the 3 eggs. So it's one stamp with 3 eggs, one die, but it cuts them out individually, so although it's only one die, you end up with 3 cut eggs in one go. We then have the outlines for the birds. So this is the one facing to the right, and obviously the one facing to the left. And then we have this one for the flower. If I just move this up a bit, down here, this little sort of 5-point flower. We have a heart for this one down here, though that may be, yes, nearly out of your picture. I can just about see it on my screen. Hopefully you can. And then we have the half flower on its side here, and then we have 4 each for the 2 feet and the 2 legs. So those are the components that cut out the elements that are stamped, but there are 3 extra dies in this set, which makes it really a useful set. So I'm just going to pop these back before I lose them. And those 2 there. Actually there's 5, I beg your pardon, 5 extra ones that cut out elements that aren't in the stamp set. So the first 2 dies we have in addition are these 2. So there's this one and this one, and these cut out 2 birds, one here and one here, so again facing each other, but they're not the same as the ones here, so they're not, it's not the same die or anything. And when you've cut these out, obviously what you can do is some shading, for example. So if I just grab a soft suede ink pad, then you can build in some shading to your birds this way, like so. If you can hear that rain and the cars going past, don't squish his foot like I just did though. And obviously you can change colour. So I've cut this out in smoky slate, but it's really just to show you the bird. So these are really quite cute in their own right. You could make this into a robin, especially if you had a dauber, sponge dauber. You could put this part here, the breast of the robin, as red, and then you could do the rest in browns, or you could add a little bit of blue if you wanted to make a blue tint. Obviously it depends on the sort of style of the bird as to what you could or wouldn't make it into. So you get those 2 dies there, so that's over and above the stamps. Hi Babsy, nice to have you join us. Thank you. So that's those 2. So these are, I'm just going through the dies. I'm not quite sure at what point you came in, Babsy. Then we have this die here that cuts out a really pretty set of foliage. Now this is not the same as this piece here. Okay, so this is the stamp, it's not the same as the die. But what I do like about this die is you have these berries on here, so it'd be really really easy to turn this into a sort of piece of Christmas foliage, especially if you took a red pen. And I've just covered, as I say, cut this out in smoky slate, but you could easily cut that out in any colour you wanted. Use, for example, so you could have cut it out in vanilla or white, and then you can use the real red pen on these berries, and here and here, like so. Not sure I've got them all. Yes, I have. And then you could add some green ink. Obviously you could cut this out in green to start with. Oh, thank you, Babsy, if you came in at the start. It didn't show up on my screen. It's the way it goes, isn't it? So here is a green blending brush. So you could easily colour the rest of this in, obviously with blending pen. Or just take your blending brush, add some green, and then go over this area in green. This is actually quite a light green, so it's not really going to show up too dramatically, but this would make a great set of foliage to put round the edge of a Christmas card, for example. You could also die cut the flowers, stamp the flowers with the coloured ink, die cut those and add those. So just when I started doing this, I thought, oh, there's lots of things you could do with this. So I'm just going to do a little bit of this. And with this, if you didn't have a punch, for example, you could use this and then just trim off the edges and create your own little bits of short foliage. Also, there's a larger piece in there. So this is soft succulent that I'm using, a really soft, because I thought it would look nice with the grey. Let me bring a bit of white card in so you can see it. There we go. So it's got a little bit of, hopefully you can see that shading. Hello, Carol. So that's that piece there. So I think that's really, really pretty. Let's not do it on there though. Whoops, a daisy. Really pretty. So this bit of foliage, as I say, is a die only. Doesn't match a stamp. So I think, personally, that you could buy, if you're not into birds in particular, you could still buy the dies. Don't buy the stamp set because that's really all birds, but you could buy the dies, and as you'll see in a minute, there's lots of different things you can do with the dies themselves. Hi Kate, I hope you're well. I hope things are settled down back at full time. I presume you've had a full week already. Okay, so let me show you that. So we're doing birds and branches, Kate. So there we go. It makes quite a difference just adding that little bit of ink with the blending pen. Okay, so that's one of those extra dies. That's just this one here. Then we have this die, and this creates a really stunning border. So I've cut one out ready to show you, and I've just put it along the edge of my card like so. If I put this strip behind, you can see how stunning that is. So again, it's got lots of different things you can do with it. I think Babs is saying you never thought much of it until you see it in person. Oh, first official week back on campus. Oh, Freshers Week. Okay. Yes, I bet you do, Kate. Indeed, Barbara, when you've seen them demonstrated. So this cuts an edge. So it has... so this is open, and then it has a line along here on that inside piece. So all I did to cut this panel was I placed it on my card. Obviously my card was opened, so you will need a slightly wider die cutting machine. Place this piece on that and then run it through the machine, and it leaves that really lovely border. So it's very easy to make that stand out just by putting a piece of card behind it So I'll do that just so you can see the finished thing. So what I'm going to do is actually place this card onto the back there, add the glue, and then place this back down. Now you could, if you wanted to, leave a little bit. So this is Bermuda Bay. You could leave a little bit of a border, if you can see that there on the edge. Or you could have that black going right up to the end, like so. Not quite sure which I prefer really. Probably right to the end. So all I'm going to do is just put a line of glue on here. Whoops. So just keeping that fairly close to the edge, but not too much glue. And then I'm going to leave a very slight border and then lay that down. I need to take my glasses off to see it. There we go. So I think this creates a really pretty border onto your card. So I'll just trim that edge off. I need to grab my scissors that have come back, hopefully, in the place that they should be. Okay, so I'm just going to trim this off, just leaning it against the card, and there you've got a really pretty edge to your card. I've just stuck that on just really to show you. You could decorate the back of that. You could put designer paper in as well and have the designer paper coming out. I think it would need to be either fairly bold designer paper or quite a solid colour, but I think that would definitely work. So that's another one of the dies, which is this one here. So perfect for edging. Now it would be quite easy to do that, and thinking about it, doing that on the other side, so have a separate piece of card and then you'd have a panel like that. I'm quite liking that idea, and in fact I think what I would do is do that in landscape, and then you've got these two pieces either side. So I might work on doing something with that later on. What's nice is that this piece obviously fits a UK sized card. Okay, so it goes over just at the end. This is a standard A6 card. Okay, so that's another one of the dies. And then the final one, which might be my favourite, is this one here. Let me pop this behind. And this creates a really pretty silhouette. Let's put it the right way around, like so. So it's a circle die, so it cuts out that element and the elements inside. So there's a number of things you could do with that. Yes, the edge is nice, and well, I like all of it now. I like this too. So you could do a number of things. One is you could have a square card and insert that in the front panel of the square card and have a scene behind. You could just cut it out of the front of a piece of card, not necessarily with this, but you could have that cut through the front layer to show something behind. Or you could cut that out, and then if you had a circle die that was slightly bigger than that, you could cut that out as almost like a frame in its own right. I mean, obviously you could cut, I've just used an offcut here, but I think there's lots of things that you could do, with that. I just think it's really really pretty, and I have to say it is striking in black as well. That's the other thing. So what I'm thinking for my card to start with is I'm going to cut a panel like this and pop some birds on the front. I just need to let Cassie out, I think. Yes, I do. Excuse me 1 minute. I've already had to shut the back door twice because it was so wet in the kitchen. So let me just go and open that for her. Excuse me. Right, sorry ladies and gentlemen, I'm back. Okay, so let me think about colours. This would also be nice as part of that, wouldn't it? Okay, let me turn this page over as well. So if you didn't see them, we also have these 2 die cut birds, as well as the dies that match the entire stamp set. So let me put these back on here. I just want to turn that paper over because it's got some ink on it, but also I find it's I think it's distracting when you're looking at it. I don't like to look at anything too distracting. There we go, that's better. So let me think on what colour. So I could have a pale, I'm going to do it as an anniversary card. So you could introduce colours relating to the anniversary. So for example, it could be gold for a golden wedding, or silver, or anything like that. I'm going to go pink and grey. I haven't done that combination for quite a while. So let's bring in petal pink. And Sahara sand. No, smoky. Can't tell. That's smoky slate. That's grey granite. That's better. I got there. Okay. So, what am I going to do? I want to try to work out what my panel is going to be. So my panel is going to be pink. So let me just cut that first. So I'm just going to cut this as a layer onto my grey card. So I'm going to cut it to a card base first, which is what I always do, 14.85. And then I'm going to cut this down to 10 centimetres. By 14.35. Okay, and then this will be my card base in smoky slate. So this is going to score at 10.5 centimetres, like so. Okay, so that's going to go onto there. And then I'm going to put that circle, cut that circle here through there, so that you get the pink edge here, and then it'll go well, it might go through to the grey, or I might put something else behind it, not quite sure. So let's just roughly position that, and you could, well, this really needs to be high of centre. I wouldn't really put it in the centre here, but you could use a square card and then centre that. Okay, I'm just going to run that through the machine. Just going to bring my machine up. I haven't got much space, so I'm not going to, you won't be able to see very much of it. It's just in there. Okay, so just going to pop this through, and apologies you won't see very much, it takes up too much of the camera, and I daren't move the camera because if I do that it'll never be back in the right place again, so I do apologise. There we go. Whoops daisy, and now you're wobbling. There we go. Isn't that pretty? Take that out. Take out the little pieces. Okay. Tiny little bit in there, just going to pop out, but other than that everything else has just fallen out, as you can see. There we go. Okay, let's have a look. So pretty, like so, you can see that. And obviously you could, for more effect, you can actually put this up on dimensionals, because you then get the depth going behind here. Okay. Alright, I'm going to do a couple of birds. I'm just going to stamp those. So here's a piece of, somewhat larger piece of card than I needed, but it will do. So I'm going to use grey for the birds this time. So I have smoky slate ink. I could obviously use the die cuts, but I want to do just a bit of stamping today. Might need the stamps though. Okay, so I want one going one way and one going the other. So I'm just going to pick those out to start with. And just going to try and stamp those at the same time. It might not work, but then it might. I don't normally stamp multiples at the same time, but let's give it a go. Okay, so that's the outline, like so. Cute. Let's leave those on there for the minute. And then we've got a little bit more detail with this one here. It's really good shading, and if you can see the detail of that little bird, put my glasses back on. You can see that. It's even got the white sort of around the eye. Cassie? You're after the glass biscuits, aren't you? She is. Okay, I'm just going to bring this down a little bit so I can see where I'm stamping. There's that one. And let's do the other infill. This one here. This is more sort of wren-like in its positioning, I think. Like so. And then finally we have the wing on top. Now I'm just using smoky slate for all of these. I'm not doing any other colour. So it's just to show how effective it is. So there's this one here. Just gives it depth. Thank you, Babsy. There we go. So there's our two little birds. Should have done one in pink and one in blue, really, shouldn't I? But never mind. They will do the job. And for the moment, I'm not going to put any feet on there. I'm just going to die cut these out. So I'm just going to trim around here, and then I'll just show you the dies, and then die cut these. Like that. Locate the dies. So we just have a straight one of those and one of those, and I'll pop that through the die cutting machine. Just going to bring it back up. There we are. Normally I have a bit more space by my desk, but because I've come back and not put everything away after class, it's a little bit all over the place. Okay, so I'm just going to cut those out. I would normally put a little bit of tape on there to hold them. I'm hoping that they will stay in place for my purposes. Go. There we are. So cut them out perfectly. Obviously, well, it would if I'd cut it right, if I put it right the way through. I'm just going to snip that last little bit. I obviously stopped it slightly short because it's not quite cut there. So don't do what I do. Run it right the way through. There we go. So now I've got my two birds. Let's have a look, see how we're doing, see what this looks like. So I'm sort of thinking to have one here and one here, or I could have sort of one up and one down. Like that. And these will go on to dimensionals. Now thinking behind, I could actually stamp and die cut the nest. in Smoky Slate again. Let's have a look and see, just to give it a bit of interest behind. Failing that, I would find some patterned paper that would fit in, that would look nice in there. But let me just unleash all of these and grab this lovely nest stamp. Trying to think if you could use that to make, you could use that to make a wreath, couldn't you? It'd be quite a big wreath though. But you could use that for a wreath if you wanted. Just about fit onto there. So let's have a look. It's really just to fill in the background. I don't want it to overtake anything else. Yeah, that's nice. So I'm just going to try a wreath. I'm only going to freehand stamp it, just to see if it works. Oh, it's a bit big, isn't it? Let's do it like that. Yeah, that's a huge wreath, isn't it? But I suppose if you had an 8-inch square card, that would work, wouldn't it? This is rather large though. Okay, so let us take that and die cut the nest. Obviously you could fussy cut it. You could also, oh, here's a thought, stamp it on the grey rather than die cut it. What do you think? I think I might do that. Just after all that. So all I'm going to do is position this and mark with a pencil where I want that to go, because it will be hidden underneath there. So grab the pencil. Not the best one, but it will do the job. So I'm thinking just to have it in there. If I don't like it, I can always put the die cut on top of it, can't I? So sort of there and there. I'm going to mark here and here. Let's give it a go. It's a nice nest though. Tone on tone is always really effective. There we go. There we go. This is just a hint of the nest behind now. If you can see that. Okay. Then I've got my little birds. I'll think about their arrangement in a minute. Now I could also put this through an embossing folder. That would be really pretty. What I am going to do is add a heart. Now there is a little heart stamp and die cut, so I think what I'm going to do is find it, because I know it's on a spare piece of acetate, because I moved it this evening. Here it is. No, it's not. Okay. Maybe I will just die cut the heart then. Sorry everybody. So there's a heart. And actually what I might do is, no, I think it'd be too much. I'm going to put some flowers on it, but I think if I'm going to put a heart, I don't need to put the flowers on. So I'm going to put the heart in this petal pink, using the bit that came out of the middle. So I could put a heart in the middle. I could put two, a grey and a pink one, but I'm just going to pop that one through. I'll just do this on my chair. So I hope everybody is dry this evening and didn't get too wet. If you're watching on catch up, it's currently been pouring with rain here, and that is in the UK. There we go. There we have that. Let's not lose the little heart die though. There we go. So I'm happy with how that's coming together. Now the birds do have little feet that you can die cut, but I think I prefer them as is rather than with separate feet. I could stamp the feet onto the card if I wanted to. You have them actually with them on the branch, or you can have them with little legs. I'm just deciding whether I need to do something with this piece of pink, whether I need to put it through an embossing folder. Or just leave it. I don't want it to detract from this because I think that's just really pretty. So maybe I will leave that. And then I'm going to look for a congratulations sign. So I've got this one here, congratulations, which I might just stamp straight onto there, or I could stamp and pop up on some dimensionals. Let's have a look and see. I think you could also use this edge, this nest, as quite a nice edge, not necessarily around this card, but other cards as a sort of border. Let's just see. Oh yes, the Subtles one. Yeah, maybe I will do a light texture. The Subtles one has retired. Yeah, the Subtles one has retired, but the Tasteful Textures one. So let's just try that. It just looks slightly too plain for my liking, and I might take the congratulations up onto a border. So let's grab an embossing folder. Let's see if I can get there. Let's have a look. What else have I got that would fit? I don't want anything too fussy. Hammered metal. I think yes, the Tasteful Textile one. This one that makes it look like a sort of fabric. The other one that would potentially work would be a wood one, especially as there's birds. But I'll do Tasteful Textiles. Let's have a look and see what that looks like anyway. Just change my plates, bear with me. Take that off. my thicker plate. Right, haven't gone anywhere, I promise. There we go. Thank you for the idea though, Babsy. Definitely needed a bit of texture on it. There we go. If you can, if I just hold that to the light, can you see that? Oh yes, if I do it that way you can see it. So you always want to do the embossing afterwards. Otherwise, if you do the embossing first and then run it through the die cutting, it will flatten the embossing. Now this is quite a flat embossing anyway, but you don't want to flatten out what you've already done, that's for sure. Okay, that's better. That's what it needed. So there we go. So I'm going to pop this. Am I going to put this on dimensionals? Yes, I am. Now I could have one of the birds on the nest and one outside, or I could have, it's a bit too much to have them both, I think. What do you think? One in, one out? Let me lift it up for you, like so. Or both on the top. Right, I'm going to put congratulations on another strip because I can't stamp it onto here now. I've added the texture and I think it does need a little bit of a lift. So what I'm going to do is stamp it onto white and then put it, that's a little bit big, put it onto a grey border. So let me grab a little bit of white. Use the back of this. Ah, thank you, Babsy. I knew somebody would know. So Babsy says they don't often stay on the nest together, so one in and one out. That is a very good plan. There we go. There's my congratulations. And obviously you could silver emboss this, heat emboss it. There's lots of different things you could do with it. So I might grab some dies. Just looking for my rectangles. See if this combination would work. A little bit small for that. That would work with a layer behind. Might be a little bit big for that layer. It's a shame that one is. Take my glasses off. Just a little bit close. It has got stitching around the outside and the inside, so it's not, the die line is sort of in the middle. So I think what I'm going to do is actually die cut that one in smoky slate and just cut that one with my trimmer. because I don't want it to be so big that it overpowers the rest of the scene. So let's just trim this down. So I've had quite a few other ideas of things that I can do with these sets. So I'm going to use this combination all week. And it's the last few days of celebration this week. I can't believe it already. So the celebration items are all still available. And the great offer for joining our team is also still available, which is £130 of product for £99. Plus you get to choose a free bundle from the Christmas set, from the Christmas catalogue. So that could be another £45 worth free, depending on which bundle you choose. So I would say that if you like your crafting, just cleaning this out, and you want to join a team of like-minded people, we do have great fun as a team, I have to say. We're very supportive of each other. We have all ages, all abilities, so you don't have to be an expert at all. So if that is of interest, just let me know. Okay, so I'm just going to trim this slightly further. And there we go. There we are. I'm just going to grab an offcut of smoky slate to cut that piece out. Just want to make sure that's, yeah, that's good, definitely going to work. So there's my heart in the middle. Grab a bit of smoky slate out of my scraps piece. Make sure it's the right one. So we've got a smaller piece so as not to waste anything. For my scraps, I tend to keep them, I don't keep them religiously by colour. I just call them, I put them together in blacks, greens, blues, etc. If they're larger pieces, then I keep them with the papers, because I have all the card. I keep all the cards in order. Sorry, scrounging around to get this plate. And then if I have a larger piece, I keep it in with the colour, but all the small pieces I just put in collectively. Right, there we go. Cut that. I'm looking for the clear plate. That is the only problem, isn't it? I've got a spare. It's that one. Okay. There we go. Okay, so it's coming together, isn't it? So that's going to go into there. So perhaps he said one inside, one out. So Let's work out which one needs to be in. So this one could be, because I don't want to hide them, that's the thing. So I think maybe this one in, but at the top, and this one on the outside. Okay. So let's put him down first. Just going to use a bit of glue for him, and then the panel will go on with dimensionals, like so. Hopefully that will work, like so. Let's layer these up as well. So I'm going to put this one on flat and then that layer on with dimensionals. That's that one. I'm going to put a little dimensional behind here. So let me grab those and we're good to go. Bum. Voila. Okay, let's pop a couple on here. Three. Oh yes, Easter cards, you're quite right. Quite right, Kate. That would be very cute, wouldn't they? Okay, and then on the back of here, I do like that with the texture, so I'll just turn that at an angle, hopefully you can see it. Oops. So I'm just using the corner dimensionals for the corners. Works particularly well. And then I'll put a little bit of support in the other areas. And there. And there. And one there. Okay. Couldn't see which ones I'd taken the backings off. Go. Whoops. Got there. Sorry about that. Okay. So just centralising that, positioning it over before I let go or press it down, like so. And then our other little bird's going to sit there. And I've got a tiniest piece of dimensional there. Oops, Daisy. And I put the heart in between, or maybe up there? Let's put this piece on anyway. At the top. Oh, I need a tiny, oh there we are, look, whole sheet of dimensionals now. There we go. All done. I'm happy with that. The tell you the other thing you could do with the nest is you could stamp that across the bottom, ignoring this curve, so stamp it sort of that way for an effect. And this would also look good as straw if you stamped it in saffron or something like that. But there we go. So I hope you like that. Hunt out for a suitable inside sentiment. I could use wishing you every happiness this special day will bring for an anniversary card. Is it that one? Yes, it is. So I'll just add this to finish it off. Can I get away with using that? Not quite long enough. Let me grab a little bit of white and then we're all done. So thank you for joining us today. Oh look, that's the right size. I hope you've enjoyed the creative process. I wasn't quite sure what I was doing when I started, but I'm pleased with the final result. So I will be back. I'll be back tomorrow. That's Wednesday. Goodness me. Yep, Wednesday morning. With something further along these lines. I think what I'm going to do is use that long panel here and do something with this, and then I've also got another idea of what to do with this, so we will see. I think I want my little birds along the bottom, but I'm just going to stamp the bottom layer of the birds rather than the full detail. Thank you, Jeanette, and thank you again for this afternoon, and thank you for the biscuits. That was very, very thoughtful. So I'm going to leave myself a little bit of space. Have that one there. You can, I don't know if you can see that detail. It really is stunning. And then let's have the other one on the other side. And we can have them just about kissing, couldn't we? Oh, missed a bit at the top. Let me see if I can fill that in because the ink is still on the stamp. Just want to line it up properly. There we go. Whew, made it. There we are. So that's the outside and that's the inside. And obviously I might just add some birds to the envelope as well. And I've got the perfect couple to send this to. So there's that. There's the outside. Oh, and to start, I tend to put it at an angle, but then I forget that you can't see that at an angle, so I should remember to keep it straight for you. So there we go, and there's the inside. I'll get there in the end, and then I will stamp the birds on the envelope as well. Okay, so thank you so much. Took a little bit longer, but I wanted to talk you through all the other components. As I say, this border here is absolutely stunning. So I'm going to do something with that tomorrow. I think I'm going to cut out 2 borders and make a card with that panel, also featuring the birds. And maybe I'll try and introduce this too. Who knows? So many variations. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening. Sorry it's a bit late. It's gone 8 o'clock. Goodness me, I did get carried away. Thank you for putting up with me this long. If you're watching on replay, I hope you have fast forwarded to the relevant bits. I know quite a few people do run me at 1.2, but that's absolutely fine. Thank you so much for joining me. So the stamp set is called Birds and Branches, and the die set is called Birds and More. And if you want to know where they are in the catalogue, the Birds and More dies are on page 162. They're here at £32, and the actual Birds and Branches can be found on page 108. I'll just flip there, although you've seen the stamp set already, but there are some nice samples in here. So there is the stamp set, and here are some samples here with the birds and the die cut layers. Okay, thank you so much. I'll let you get on and enjoy your evening. Thanks again for joining me, and do take care. I'm off to do a Facebook Live for the team as we have some exciting new products coming, and I need to go and let the team know. So if you are interested in joining, do message me and I can send you all the relevant information. We'd love you to be part of our team. You know, it's all about sharing and having fun. That's what it's about. Thank you so much, everyone. Take care now. Bye.